Hello again. Welcome to my channel, The Coherence Path. I'm here again at the Photogenic Homestead. Let's put it that way. It's a nice abandoned property that's owned by the state, and it's pretty quiet here. So I come here to shoot videos when I can, and it's not far from where I live. Right now the sun is heading toward the horizon, and it's beautiful out. And I wanted to share some information with you, just an experience. So this topic of this video I am going to call free car. Can you believe it? So it's going to go under the category of experience. And my YouTube videos, as I can, I'm going to organize and put into 3 columns: consciousness, experience, and art. And I talked about this on a previous video and why I'm doing that. But today is on experience, but it is also about consciousness, because all experiences happen from our own conscious. Now, about 3 years ago, and I shared this on another video, I was looking for a used car, perhaps to buy and just monkey around with. I had started monkeying around with my truck. I have a Toyota, and I do the brakes and oil on it and simple things, but I had never really ventured to do mechanical things because I really felt intimidated by mechanical things, even though my own father, when he was alive, was a very good mechanic. But I don't think he ever even taught me how to change oil. Maybe he did, but at any rate, I didn't have much mechanical experience most of my life. But my truck here, I bought my first one when I was 14, and this one I've had for, I don't know, I guess 25 years. But it's a pretty easy thing to work on. And so about 3 years ago, I'd been working on it, and I thought, well, it'd be kind of fun to get another car and kind of monkey around with it, and maybe fix it up and sell it. So I had, searched for a car for, some weeks, and I'd pretty much given up, and I walked through the living room. Nobody was there. But I walked through the living room and said to myself out loud, well, maybe somebody will just give me a car. And if you've watched that other video, I talk about that, and that's exactly what happened. A neighbor just came over. I didn't even know them. They came over and said, hey, we have this car in our driveway that my father had when he was alive, and we'd like to know if you'd like to have it. And I said, sure. I went over there and put some air in the tires and a new battery and started it right up. I played around with it for maybe 4 months, and then I sold it. So anyway, recently, I was just sitting in my car, my Venza. I don't know, I'd maybe finished eating lunch or finished a new chess move on an app that I play chess with. I remember just thinking in my mind. I didn't say it out loud. I just said it in my mind. I said to myself, in my mind, I said, it'd be kind of funny if somebody gave me a free car. Yeah. And on this video, the thumbnail, I'll include a photo of the car that somebody just gave me. Now, I just had that thought in my head, and it was fleeting. It lasted, 2 seconds. And I went back to doing what I was doing and went about the rest of my day. I didn't think about it ever again. Absolutely zero. I didn't lay in bed at night wondering if I was going to get a free car. I had no aspiration for it. I had no anxiety about it. I didn't even have any real strong wish about it. I just thought it'd be kind of funny. So I went over to do some work on a house, and across the street was a neighbor that I had worked for about a year. And they saw me over there, and they said, "Hey, Stefan, hey, would you come over here? We have a question about something." So I went over there, and they wanted me sort of to inspect what the drywall guys were doing in their basement, which was fine. Everything worked out well. And then I was about to leave, and they said, "Well, we have something else we wanted to talk to you about." And I said, "Well, okay." And I thought, well, it's probably some project they want me to look at or work on or something. And the husband, you know, I think we were talking on the porch. He said, "Hey, we were wondering if you'd like our Ford Explorer, Luke's or their youngster's car that they've been driving to school back and forth." And I didn't really know what to say because I wasn't sure whether I wanted it. They said, "Well, it's got a mechanical issue, and it wasn't a simple one, and but we, you know, the person we thought of was you because we don't really want to deal with, you know, trying to fix it or put it on Marketplace and deal with, you know, yahoos." That's what we called them when I was a kid. People that, you know, say they're interested and then they never show up. So they just didn't want to deal with it. So they asked me if I wanted the car. And I said, "Well, I think about it. Let me investigate, you know, the mechanical issue and learn all about it so I understand exactly what I'm taking on if I do." So I did for about 6 days. I researched the entire thing, and a lot of good things came out of that because I discovered that their other car, which was basically the same car, they had two cars that were very similar. Both of them had two things that inherently would go wrong with those cars. One was just a little bit ahead of the other. And both of those individually would cost about $4,000 to fix. And, you know, if you took it to the dealership. A regular mechanic charge, you know, probably half that. But at any rate, one was a faulty water pump, and the other was a PTU unit, power transfer unit, that these two cars have. And both of them they have design flaws. Anyway, to fix either one of them, it's, you know, it's the part for one is not much, but the part for the other is almost $1,000. So, but in either case, the mechanical time, the time to perform the mechanical, you know, criteria is fairly high. It's like 10 or 12 hours. So, again, I've never done that much mechanical stuff, so I had a lot of misgivings about the whole situation. I thought, geez, you know, I don't know if I want a free car, if I either got to pay a bunch of money to fix it, or if I got to fix it myself, am I even capable of doing that? So when I watched some YouTube videos on how to perform the water pump replacement, I was very intimidated. I thought, geez, you know, you got to take apart the whole freaking engine just to replace the damn water pump. What a piss poor design. And so, excuse my language. But anyway, what happened was, the more I watched those videos, the more I realized it actually wasn't that complicated. All I had to do is pay attention to what I was doing. Do one step at a time, you know, be very organized, put each section or segment of parts with their screws and, you know, fittings and all that other stuff, all organized in baggies separately so everything goes with everything else, and just do one thing at a time and do exactly what you had to do, and then put it back together. And once I understood that that's what you had to do, I thought, well, you know, I have a youngster and they're very mechanically inclined. And I thought, well, maybe we can do it together. And they agreed that they would try. So anyway, it's a pretty nice car. It's black on the outside, black leather on the inside. It's got brand new tires. Runs great. Those engines are supposed to go and have gone 300,000 miles and more. It's just got a bad design when it comes to the water pump. The PTU unit, that's a whole other thing. It needs to have a drain valve put in the bottom of it, and new fluid exchanged every about 20,000 miles. And I'm sure this mechanical stuff may be just boring you out of your mind. But anyway, my point is that this is just an experience that came to me because of a simple thought I had when I was sitting in my car, you know, just messing about with either my chess app or, you know, thinking about some place I needed to go in the next hour, or what I'd done, or, you know, whatever was going on with me that day. It was about a week ago. I just had a simple thought that, you know, maybe somebody will give me a car. That'd be kind of funny. And here it is. Now, in retrospect, the other time I said that, which I said out loud, as I said, you know, maybe somebody will just give me a free car. And in my mind it said, that doesn't need too many mechanical issues. And that one didn't. It was pretty, it was an easy, fun mechanical thing to play with. So I learned a lesson on this one that I could have put those criteria. But it's fine. It's a free car, and I get to play around with it, and maybe my youngster will drive it. I don't know. But my point is that sometimes in our life experiences, little things happen, and most of the time we don't even pay attention. You know, what if I just didn't even remember that I had that thought? And I just thought, oh, wow, somebody gave me a free car. Cool, you know. And I just went on in my life, and that would be fine. But the fact that I pay attention to these things, because I'm conscious of these things, tells me and reaffirms to me of what I already know. And that is that our mind, our consciousness, is constantly creating our life experience around us. And you might have had something like this happen in some lesser or greater degree. I don't know, you know. So yesterday I just thought I'd experiment and say, well, maybe somebody will just give me a free house, you know. You know, maybe somebody will give me a house that has at least 4 bedrooms and living room and dining room and family room, and something that's a really either simple design that I can really do something fun with, or a castle, something that's so cool that I could just restore. It'd be something fun to do, a big art project, right? And I just set it and I just let it go, and I'm not even going to think about it. I'm not going to worry about it. You know, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It'll just be more evidence, if it does, that my consciousness creates, that our consciousness creates things we experience. Sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. And I think it all boils down to, and Thomas Campbell talks about this, is that there's probabilities in the field in which we live, and that field is consciousness. And when we, you know, have a thought, whether it's a plus thought or a negative thought, it increases the probability or momentum of whatever the nature of that thought is. You know, somebody might have a negative thought and say, well, you know, maybe I'll never have any friends. And then they never have any friends until they come to a point where they say, well, having friends is a possibility. And then they have some friends. And I've seen that in particular thing happen, not only in my own life, but in others' lives, as I've observed them over time. So I guess the only point of this video is to share this experience with you. If you find something useful out of it, or interesting, or, you know, it's just maybe just an anecdotal story, you think, oh, that's kind of interesting, then that's fine. But if you think that there's something in there where you can kind of glean a little bit of information from it and use it for your own life, then that's good. Anyway, thanks for stopping by again. Take care of yourself. There's only one of you, and you are important to everyone else, because we're all in this together. I don't think that, you know, you moving through whatever life you have is just, you know, mundane. because each one of us bring to the present moment the focused intention of our being. And if we have a beingness that is, not positive, or, if we're not thinking good about ourselves, then we might experience things that are kind of supporting that, or at least we won't feel very good about ourselves. But if we think, that we have a purpose in life, it doesn't have to be a big purpose. It's just being here, being alive and being present, being willing to be good, being willing to be loving, not out of obligation or out of the intention of getting something from somebody else, but just out of the purpose of being kind and being loving. Then that is purpose. That is life purpose. There really isn't any much more that's going to add a whole lot to that, because everything else that you think of, like riches and possessions and all the rest, that's all going to fade away anyway. Can't take it with you. But the goodness, the love, that's something that is rich and full and promising and prosperous now, in the moment. It makes us feel good to be good. It makes us feel good to be loving. It makes us feel good to be kind. And that's wealth that is right there waiting in the present moment. So I wish you the best of fortune on your day today, being kind to yourself and just having a great day. And I'll catch you on the next video if you decide to stop by. Thank you.